Hey, what's going on, Vibes? If you like, follow me on these social media platforms as well. And don't forget, leave a like and comment down below. And don't forget to subscribe as well and share the video. Please and thank you. Now let's get into it. Today's topic is going to be about Dragonball Daima, Toriyama's last piece of work, aka what everyone thinks is going to be GT 2.0, but that's far from the case. A lot of people are upset because they want to see the More arc be animated as well as the Granola arc, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's not going to happen. It's been 2 years. They've already moved on within the storyline. And everyone thinks it's going to be a story about Goku mostly, but that's not the case because if you remember correctly, ever since Vegeta got Super Saiyan God, it's been literally the Goku and Vegeta show. But I think this is going to more focus on everyone else and these new villains, in which Geekdom 101, he gave us new insight to who these villains are and what their purpose is. So far, the villains in this movie are pretty much, I think, one of them is Bobby's younger sibling, and they're trying to create a new Majin Buu type of villain, which, me personally, I don't think that's a good idea at all. Simply because we saw what happened with the last and original Majin Buu, who's been since time immemorial. But I am glad to see that Dragon Ball is taking a route to go back to its roots. Way before we got all these transformations and crazy gimmicks, Dragon Ball was all about martial arts, if you remember right. It was Goku's whole story about being enlightened, actually being woke really, because that's really what martial arts is. It's being in tune with oneself and nature, knowing one's body, and having a higher echelon of peace and knowledge. And this is way before we got all these Super Saiyan transformations, all these emotions, all these new power-ups, these cannon busters, universal feats, way before all that. It's going back to the roots. Even though I love Super Saiyan 4, I think Dragon Ball needs to get back to what it's originally about. Martial arts and just teaching people to be about themselves. Because now we have all these crazy God Ki forms and Ultra Instinct forms and Ultra Ego, and the storyline has gotten extremely wacky. Anyone that's a true fan will tell you that. I'm a Dragon Ball fan, but not that big of a fan, but I've watched it long enough to realize, like, yo, this has gotten way, way, way beyond, what it originally was purposed for. Now, these new villains, we don't know if they're as strong as Bibbidi was. Remember, originally Bibbidi created he created Kid Buu, but then Toriyama retconned it to where Kid Buu had been around since time immemorial. And what I said earlier, I don't think that's a good idea of them trying to recreate a new Majin Buu type of character because of what Kid Buu was and what he turned into. But so far, we are getting more insight to the Demon Realm, which I think is good because we've always just heard about the Demon Realm and all that, and how it's separated from the other world, but we've never actually got to go there. And I'm curious to how these new guys are going to control this new Majin Buu being, because remember, Fat Buu got tired of listening to Bobbidi, and then everything went left. Hopefully it's not a snooze fest in the beginning, because then that's kind of be like, damn, we have to wait all the way to August for a snooze fest, and I wouldn't be too happy about that, and I don't think the fans would as well. But at the same time, I'm curious to see just who these guys are, because it's clear that they've been really keeping tabs on Earth ever since the Buu saga, and I would love to see what else they've come up with. Now, in the Demon Realm, as I said earlier, we never really got insight to that. All we've ever gotten was Garlic Jr. and King Piccolo calling themselves Demon, but the best thing we've ever got to really go into detail about the Demonverse is Dragon Ball Super Heroes, which is pretty much its own continuity and its own gaming. They've given us more insight than the canon timeline on what the Demonverse really is, which you can see with Meteor Mission and Dragon Ball Super Heroes, that this is really all about the Demon Realm, which I'm upset that we got more in depth of the Demon Realm and other arcs with Dragon Ball Super Heroes than we've ever had in the main continuity. I think that's freaking bonkers. But hopefully this new Majin Buu that they create is different from the Majin Buu that we have, because even though everyone gets turned into kids, I'm curious to see what our Majin Buu is going to look like. I've seen scans, in which I'll show here in a minute, of Majin Buu, but he doesn't turn to Kid Buu, which I think is pretty head-scratching, And it's actually good to see that they bring back old characters like Korn and them to introduce the new fan base of Dragon Ball fans into people that have been long forgotten within the series. So I'm enjoying that as well. And like I said earlier about it being GT 2.0, even Geekdom himself has said, if it turns into another GT 2.0, then he'll concede and take back everything he said. But I don't know if we'll get like a Super Saiyan 4 version. I don't know. Maybe we might. We just might. This new thing, clearly it's for newer kids. It's not really for older fans. That's been clear. It's like Pokemon Sun and Moon. When Sun and Moon came out, you know, all the older fans were complaining about the animation, but I'm like, bro, it's not for us. It's for a new audience. Which is probably why Toriyama took this route to make everyone kids again, to capture the attention of a younger generation, to bring them into the new fold of Dragon Ball and taking it back to its roots, like I said earlier. Because remember, Dragon Ball was originally all about martial arts, and these new kids, even though some of their attention spans are like putty, I think they'll be more interested in watching fight scenes, because guess what? It's a trick old as time, watching people battle each other out to see whose skills are better. And I think it's good to go back to that, because even in this scene with Goku and Vegeta fighting, they're not really in transformation. They're in their base form, which is good because it's telling the younger kids like, hey, you don't need all these transformations to have a good saber. You can just have strictly old school hand-to-hand combat without having to power up and be a universal destroyer. Even Goku met Chi-Chi, his first love, through martial arts. Well, originally he met her because he had to get the Dragon Ball, but if you know the story, you know the story. And I think this is also good because it brings back characters who have, as I said before, they've been long forgotten ever since it's become the Goku and Vegeta show. But here are the scans of everyone as kids. Now, do some of these images I agree with? Not really, because like I said, Majin Buu really makes me scratch my head, because if everyone's going back as kids, well, shouldn't he technically go back to looking like Kid Buu? I don't know, maybe Toriyama didn't take him back to that form because he wouldn't be able to control himself. I don't know. We have a lot of questions that have not been answered about this. But it's good to see everyone all together again. And I've loved seeing Goku with his power pole. Even though I think Krillin and everyone else, even though they shrunk in size, they still look more adult than kids. It looks more like they're just short and adults than they are more kids, because we've seen Chi-Chi as a kid. Lapis, aka Android 18, not so much. Hercule Ifita, Majin Buu again. The Kid Buu thing, hey. But here are the demons of the Demon Realm and the guards that Goku is going to be fighting within the movie. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the whole Shenron thing, which is how Goku and everyone else ended up becoming kids in the first place, that is giving heavy GT vibes. Because if you remember in GT, Emperor Pilaf got upset because he got tired of Goku always starting his plans, so he wished for him to be a kid again. And I want to say that concept was heavily taken from GT. That part, we're not even gonna lie, we're not even gonna skip by that. That was heavily influenced by GT. But again, GT was more of a Toei thing. Toriyama just overlooked it. So now that we have Toriyama's perspective and his outlook and his, I want to say not narration, but his guidance on the project, yeah, we're getting more of how he would have done things if he probably would have did GT. Now, again, as I said, everyone, they don't really look too kidly. They look more like just shrunken adults. I'm not going to lie there. But it's good to see that we were getting everyone. Now, I'm kind of upset that we didn't get a launch. Like, we got everyone else showing us kids, but we didn't get launch. And I miss launch. A lot of the fans, we miss launch, but it's good to see Chi-Chi and Bulma together. And if you had hopes of seeing Gotenks in this movie do childish antics, which I think would have been a good idea, but hey, I was the one who wrote this script, you can cancel all that, because they're probably being babysat by Gohan because they've been turning into babies again. Go figure. Now, there is one thing I did notice that stuck out to me more than anything in these trailers. It was the same space pod. I'm curious to who this might be, because the same space pod is going towards the Earth. So maybe, perhaps it's Tarbo coming to Earth to say, hey, this wish has affected the entire universe. I'm a kid again. What did y'all do? I don't know. Hopefully that's the case, because we haven't seen him in a while either. Like, I hope this movie brings everyone back. But I'm really more intrigued than anything to see just who's in this space pod and what exactly is going on entirely within the universe. But here's a clip as well as Goku fighting in his classic Goku kid fashion against these demons who I've learned from Geekdom 101. These demons are planning to overthrow the demon that we saw in the trailer, because clearly they don't like him and they want his title as Demon King. Now, another thing that I did notice within these trailers is that Goku has remembered not to use the power pole inside, because I want to say back when he was fighting the Red Ribbon Army, he used it inside one time and it got stuck. So that's good that he remembered that all the way from those years ago. But it's also good to see Goku putting in this work with his power pole. It's like he never put it down, like he's had this entire adventure, because he put the work in on these guards. And I do say myself, this was fantastic work by Toriyama, just showing that Goku still has it. He hasn't forgotten. It's been a while, but he still remembers how to use that thing when need be. He didn't skip a whole beat. So with that being said, I feel like this was Toriyama's farewell work to us all, and that this is something that we as the fans can enjoy, that our kids can enjoy, and that they share with their kids in the time to come. So I plan on seeing this, and I know that it will live up to expectations, because this was something Toriyama put his all into, and this wasn't just another Toei project that he just oversaw. But with that being said, leave a like, comment down in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think about Dragon Ball Daima. And with that being said, anime vibes out. Remember, vibes are peace, and peace is life. And with that being said, I hope everyone has a good one. Peace.